Hey everyone, I'll be joining by John Maxwell mentoring in about 10 minutes time. So it's Black History Month here in Canada, and they take the time to remember their slavery, how they treated people, and they mistreated people, and they have celebrations across Canada. So I guess for us who grew up in Africa with our black leaders and who went through the Civil War and all of that, they have no respect for us. They think we have attitudes of entitlement. They think we're incapable of learning, of holding management jobs, and they think they're better than us. So when we come here, we have to adjust. It's very hard here in Canada. You have to be prepared to take out loans to invest in your education and to help yourself, because nobody's going to help you here. I know at home in Africa, the black leaders are trying to bring in systems just like Mugabe did initially, where access to education is for everybody and to have a minimum kind of fee that people pay. And we all benefited from that, including the Indians, the coloreds, the whites who were there. Because a basic education is important to be able to read, to write, to do the arithmetic. And not everybody had access to that when we were growing up. And the generations before that, my grandparents, my grandmother in particular, they had to fight for it, for the Indians and the coloreds and blacks to get that education, the basic education, because they wouldn't give it to us. As far as they were concerned, we were inferior and we were incapable of learning. So even here in Canada, they don't make any exceptions for us. They don't give us any special treatment. And we don't have, like in our schools, we don't have access to everything. If you go to school here, if you're raising your children here, it's not like Zimbabwe. They don't have all the sports facilities and everything available. You might get it if you go to a Catholic school. But in general, if you want those things, you have to pay for them. They don't have the music in the schools. They don't have athletics. They don't have singing. Anything like that is extra. So in that way, our lives were blessed because we had access to all of that when we were growing up. But they don't think that. And most of them think that Africa is very backwards, that they're better here, that they have more than us, but they don't actually. So, I do what I can from here to lift up Africa, but it's up to the people there also to come together and to bring about change. When we are here in Canada, we don't just sit back. We always have to go to our government officials, tell them about the problems, present our solutions, present our ideas. And that's what people have to do in Africa now. Because this culture of the West knows better has changed. It changed a long time ago. It changed when Zimbabwe got independence and people were looking for self-determination and agency. And there's a lot of theology on that, liberation theology, they call it. But it's actually not liberation theology. It's that message of Christ of calling us to freedom. It's a message that was in the Jewish tradition, the calling out of slavery and into freedom, into lives of prosperity, into lives where we can provide for ourselves and our families and be out of that slave culture. So this Black History Month, of course, is important for Canada. They now, after many, many years, they have a black leader's face on their money, and they have stamps with black people's faces on them. So for many of us, it's quite hypocritical, but that's how it is here. So you just have to say well done to them for doing it. takes a lot for them to get off their pedestals and do it. And also with education, if you come here, you have to fight to get your education. Nobody's going to give it to you. Even when I went to Rotman, they didn't want to take me in. I had to fight and say, look, I've got executive assistance experience, I've got management experience. You can't discriminate and keep me out of your programs because you want Canadian experience. And then I proved myself after that. I sat on boards, I went into executive roles, I handled the project coordination and whatever I had to do. But they don't pay me what I'm worth, and that's my biggest gripe with Canada. They want me to do all the jobs that their executives do and get paid $120,000 a year and do it on minimum wage. So it's a big problem for me. And you can say, oh yeah, you know, look at the black leaders in their limousines and look at what they're doing and, you know, they're flying in on these jets. But you know what? These people here also do it. They all do it. You think they don't do it? They do it. There's very few that live simple lives. Maybe like President Jimmy Carter, a few of them, but they all do it. So don't be too quick to put your black leaders down. The black leaders are always well dressed. They take care of their hygiene and they're educated. They have degrees and qualifications from overseas, just like us. So that's why I'm saying if I got an opportunity to go back and to be in a management position there, I would do it and I would go. Zimbabwe has such beautiful places, Victoria Falls, Inyanga, Kariba. Cape Town is beautiful. It's a hypocrisy of Canada. Oh, we need you, this is also your country, but you don't want to pay me what you're paying other people who have my qualifications. You don't want to promote me. You're always putting me down, treating me harshly, giving me final written warnings for raising my voice when your customers are screaming at me. It's hypocrisy. And we did a lot for our black community in Zimbabwe. Our domestic workers, we played with our domestic workers' children. My parents and grandparents paid for their education. We were never taught to discriminate. My 21st, our domestic worker came to my 21st. Even when she had AIDS, we employed her. And my mom used to tell me, go and help her. She used to tell her, go and ask her to come and help you to fold the clothes and take them down off the washing line and all that. I had to do it. My mother didn't make my sister and my brother do it. She made me do it. So I did everything I had to do, and I'm sick of the hypocrisy. I want a good paid job, and if it means going home and working with the black leaders, working with the community organizers, I'll do it. I do it here, so why shouldn't I do it there? What goes around comes around. Eventually these whites will fall off their pedestals just like they are now. Canada's a laughingstock. First we had Doug Ford's brother with the drug abuse. Then we had people going naked on camera in the Liberal Party. Now we have over 3 million using food banks. I mean, there's not much for them to be proud of, to be honest with you. Not much. They can criticize me all they want, criticize my pants that I wear to the interview. They must give me the money to go and buy those new suits that they want me to wear. I'll go and do it for them. I'm tired of the hypocrisy.